Fellas, we're back. I'm CJ Vogel with Sports Update. We're talking college football today. It's back. About time. 2020 has been crazy. There's no Big Ten, no Pac-12 this year, but we have some type of college football, and we're happy, and we're going to talk about it today. I know if you follow me on Instagram, you've probably seen my predictions of the conferences. My college football playoff is going to be a little wacky. But yeah, we'll get into that later. For now, we're just happy college football's back, and we're going to be able to hear this.
Oh my God! Davis is going to run it all the way back! Auburn's going to win the football game! Auburn's going to win the football game!
We get to hear this.
Longhorn Nation, we're back!
And also this.
Go Bulldogs!
Yale Bulldogs!
Oh, wow.
Not so fast, midget!
Make sure, whenever college football fans are allowed back into stadiums, you use the code SPORTSUPDATE on SeatGeek. Save $20. Helps us out, helps you out, and you get to watch college football in person. What's better than that? All right, before we dive into anything else, we're going to recap 2019. Obviously, LSU won. They had the best offense of all time. Perhaps one of the greatest single-season quarterbacks of all time, Joe Burrow. But what are we going to expect from them this year? I'll go ahead and say it. LSU is going to be a disappointing team this year. Only 5 starters are coming back. Joe Brady, the mastermind behind that offense, is up in Carolina, coach for Matt Rule and Carolina Panthers. And they're starting a quarterback that's only thrown 70 passes in his entire career, Miles Brennan. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot there for LSU. Like I said earlier, only 5 returning starters from a national championship winning team last year. They're 126th out of 130 FBS teams in terms of returning production. That's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. Tyler Shelvin, Jamar Chase, Kerry Vincent, 3 stars that they were relying on to have a great 2020 season, they all opted out. LSU, even though they recruit great, they got a great coach in Coach O, they're going to be pretty thin in terms of talent and depth. For that reason, I'm not expecting a whole lot from them this year. All right, now's the time. We're going to jump into my college football playoff. As you can see, I've got Alabama, no surprise. Clemson, no surprise. Texas, hot take. No one's going to like to hear this one, obviously. You hear Texas, you're thinking, oh, top 15, top 10 school to start the year, and then all of a sudden they lose 5 games, and everybody hates them once again. And we've also got Florida to round up the top 4 of the college football playoff. Kyle Trask is out there, Florida. Great defense as well this year. I think they're going to do great things out in the SEC East. Obviously, with Alabama and Clemson, you're used to hearing these teams up in the college football playoff. What have they played 100 times in the college football national championship by now? But yeah, they're talented. I don't see there's going to be much restriction for these teams to be back in college football playoff contention. And for that reason, I feel like it's just almost a no-brainer. Clemson, especially with Trevor Lawrence, the best quarterback in the country, definitely going to be the number 1 pick, and the poor guy's going to have to end up in Jacksonville. But as for Texas, they've got a senior quarterback, Sam Ellinger. They've got 82% of their defense returning from last year. They lose Colin Johnson and Devin Duvernay. Big losses, I understand. But they're replacing that with the 2019 National Gatorade Player of the Year in Jake Smith, the 2020 Under Armour All-American Game MVP Marcus Washington, Michigan transfer Tariq Black, Brennan Eagles, who was their 3rd leading receiver last year. And they've got all sorts of weapons, underneath. They got Jordan Whittington, who rushed for 337 yards and 6 touchdowns in his Texas State Championship game. Think about that. He set records in the Texas State Championship game alone. And they've also got 5-star running back Bijan Robinson out of Tucson, Arizona. He's the highest rated running back in the 2020 class. He's joining that offense as well. And you're thinking back, okay, well, yeah, Texas is talented, but they always underachieve and they're always outcoached. I understand. Problem is, they now have Mike Yurcich. Who's Mike Yurcich, you ask? Only the offensive mastermind behind Ohio State's offense last year, where Justin Fields threw for 41 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and Ohio State basically just steamrolled everybody in the Big Ten. He's now at Texas with all of those weapons and a senior quarterback. Things are looking very bright down in Austin. Of course, with Texas making the CFP, I also have them winning the Big 12, as you can see with these Big 12 predictions right here. Following Texas is Oklahoma. Of course, it's tough to put Oklahoma 2. It's tough to put Oklahoma 2 considering they've won the last 5 Big 12 championships without, a whole lot of resistance. However, they're starting a brand new quarterback. They have a ton of suspensions and tons of injuries and tons of opt-outs right now. OU's depth at running back and receiver is pretty thin right now, though, granted, it is insanely talented once again. But for now, they might drop a game or 2 early in the season, and that might come back to bite them in the long term of things in terms of the Big 12 championship game and especially a college football playoff. After them is Oklahoma State, Tylan Wallace, Chuba Hubbard. Everybody knows that they're loaded with those two guys. Where I'm concerned is Spencer Sanders. I'm not sure I'm going to put a whole lot of trust in him right away, especially not to win the conference in year 2. The rest of the conference, you can kind of fiddle it out as it goes. There aren't a whole lot of threats in the Big 12, as everybody knows. If there is someone to shake things up, it's going to be playing in Ames in Iowa, even if the fans aren't there. Brock Purdy's very good. Matt Campbell's a very good coach as well. The combination makes it very difficult to win on the road in Iowa. Up next, the SEC. And like you saw with the college football prediction, I have Florida and Alabama coming out of both sides of the conference. I feel like Georgia's going to be very good. Once again, they have all the talent in the world. But no Jamie Newman this year. Just opted out. They're going to rely on JT Daniels. He spent his freshman year at USC before tearing his ACL, I believe. Obviously, that's going to be a big setback for him. I do think Pickens, the star receiver at Georgia is going to help him out a whole lot. He might be the MVP of that entire conference offensively. With that said, they're going to need some help, everywhere else. With that said, however, Georgia's going to need help in their receiving corps. All you hear about Georgia getting the 4 stars, the 5 stars everywhere else, but what's one thing that's always been missing with Georgia? They're running back Q. They've put out every basically 50% of the NFL running backs in the league right now. But where's the passing game? I think JT Daniels is a better passer than Jake Fromm, even though it's not that difficult to have said that. But they're going to need that, if they're going to want to upset Alabama or Florida, win the SEC, and then make it to the college football playoff as well. As for the rest of the SEC conference, I'm kind of wary on Tennessee. I feel like Harrison Bailey's going to be the savior for that program. Maybe. He could be. But again, when you start here, you can only go up. So, Harrison Bailey, good luck. As for Kentucky, I think Mark Stoops is going to do a great job. Obviously, Kentucky's had a pretty, successful run in putting, guys out into the league. But no Lynn Bowden this year. Obviously, he did basically everything for them, including, punching guys in the face before their bowl games, which was phenomenal, electric. This is what we need in college football, more fights. But no, I think Tennessee and Kentucky will do well. South Carolina, of course, I feel like they always play someone really, really close that they shouldn't be playing close at all. But the rest of the conference, it'll shake out how it shakes out. Auburn, LSU, A&M, I feel like they'll all be in the same pact, basically. But yeah, let's send out some love to my guys out in Fayetteville. Win a game this year, please. Now, 2020 is a weird-ass year when Notre Dame's in the conference. They're joining the ACC this year. Obviously, when teams go to all-conference schedules, Notre Dame's left out in the blue. So, I guess props to them, even though, join a conference already. They're joining the SEC, or the ACC this year, excuse me. We'll see how that plays out. Right now, I have them number 2 behind Clemson. Clemson's going to run away with that conference, I believe. But don't sleep on North Carolina. Mac Brown, Sam Howell, that team's going to be very good. Sam Howell had a phenomenal freshman year, and I feel like he's only going to take steps up next year as well. With that said, I'm also high on Miami. I know Manny Diaz has had a rocky, tenure so far in Miami, but he gets the Air King over from Houston. I know it stinks. Gregory Rousseau opted out. He's going to be a top 15 pick, probably one of the best pass rushers in the country last year. That is said, even with Chase Young still being in the league. If they can figure out a kicker situation, they're going to be pretty solid this year.
Seconds left to go in the game. Blocked.
Ball over the line. There's no reason a field goal that short should be blocked at the line of scrimmage by these defenders. The kicker has to create.
Now, you've seen the college football playoff prediction. You've seen me briefly talk about the conferences and how that's going to shape out as well. So it's time to get into the Heisman finalists. If you say anybody other than Trevor Lawrence is the favorite for the Heisman, I'm going to look you dead in the eye and just call you a liar. It's got to be Trevor Lawrence. It's got to be. The guy's been around for 2 or 3 years. All he's done is take, Clemson to the national championship and been the best team in the country for the last 2 or 3 years. He is the favorite, 100%. He's the best quarterback in the league. He's going to be the number 1 draft pick. Like I said earlier, the poor guy's going to have to live in Jacksonville. Just give him the Heisman. That is a consolation at the very least. But outside of Lawrence, there's a couple guys I feel like that could sneak in, make the race interesting. First off, Oklahoma quarterback Spencer Rattler. It's going to be his first full year under Lincoln Riley. But man, if you look at anything Lincoln Riley's done with the last 3 quarterbacks, two Heisman winners and then a 3rd place finish, there's no reason to think Spencer Rattler, a more talented quarterback than Jalen Hurts, is going to have a better year. Statistically, his numbers are going to be off the chart. Like I said earlier, they're going to be battling some injuries and suspensions earlier in the year, so let's see how it plays out. But man, he's going to put up some numbers, and he'll probably be in the Heisman talks midway through the year towards the end of the season as well. Chuba Hubbard's another guy, the Oklahoma State running back that I mentioned. All he's done is just rush for 2,000 yards last year, and he's back this year with probably a more loaded work schedule. I know he's missing a couple games, obviously, with the new schedule, but man, Chuba's going to be nice. He'll probably be in this discussion for the running back of the year as well. And also Sam Ellinger, like I mentioned, I'm not putting a whole lot of stock into Sam winning the Heisman, but he's going to be in the conversation, especially if Texas is winning and winning big games. If I had to put money on a deep, dark horse, it's going to be Sam Howell. I mentioned him earlier with Mac Brown. What they're doing over there in UNC is very impressive. They're still in 5-star recruits from other ACC powers. That doesn't happen at UNC. They're a basketball school. So if you made it this far, props to you, because I'm just blabbering out of my ass all day long. This is what I do. College football's back. Let's rejoice. Let's have some fun. Let's sit back on a Saturday and just kick our feet up and get drunk if you're over 21. But hey, let's enjoy it. With that said, you've now seen everything that I'm predicting. Come back in, 4 or 5 months. Tell me how wrong I am. I'd love to hear it, honestly. And like I mentioned earlier, if you're not following Sports Update on Instagram, you're missing out. That's where we put all of our content up. Check us out at sports_update on Instagram. Check me out on Twitter at CJVogel3. That's where I just blabber all day, just like I'm doing to you right now. Also, make sure if you're interested in a Manscaped razor, we have a code, Sports Update. Use it. Save yourself some money. Help us out. SeatGeek code as well. But yeah, appreciate y'all sticking with us. We'll have another video up soon. I don't know when, but soon. I'm getting the hang of things. So yeah, appreciate y'all watching. Peace out, fellas.